another incredible guest, a guy that I've learned a lot from over the years. I easily will refer to him as one of the smartest men in all of Keller Williams Realty. He's got a mega agent team that does hundreds of transactions a year. He's got multiple market centers. He owns some regions. He's a master faculty instructor. He is absolutely awesome in every way, shape, or form. I don't know if he's muted yet, but we'll find out in about 3 seconds. Gene Rivers, how are you today?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine, buddy.
Okay.
So great to have you up here.
I like those little moves you had going there,
You know,
big boy.
I can shake him with the best of them, Gene. There's 2 things I promise all these people. Well, 3 things when it comes to these sessions: motivation, education, inspiration. So, you know, 2 of the things we do is we start with some music 10 minutes before to get us up and dancing, and we're going to end it with some type of funny video. So I can't wait to see what Emily's cooked up for us today, but I'm sure it's going to be funny. So make sure you stay at the end for a little bit of laughter.
Absolutely.
So you're here to chat with us today about, you know, the shifting market, lead generation, you know, and again, you've seen these markets before, you know, in a very fierce way in Northern Florida. So tell us a little bit about what we're looking at right now.
Well, what you're looking at are 2 waves, and this is not just you guys and me. It's the entire nation is looking at 2 waves. We were all motoring along in January and February, and then March showed up, and the coronavirus just snuck up on us as a wave. I mean, it's only a matter of weeks, and everything is totally different. So we have this virus wave going through us. The virus is the issue on the table today. It is the only issue right now, because as long as people that are coming down with the disease, if those numbers are going up, and they may be cooling off in New York City, but around the nation, they're still going up in a large part of the country. And until the new cases start to go down and the deaths start to go down, both of those go down enough, we're going to be living in the entire world of the coronavirus.
Yep.
So in January, we all woke up and went to work, and we were doing work like this. And now here it is today right now, and we're all doing work like this. And none of us thought we were going to do it. And today it is a digital platform. If you look at the Shift book and you look at page 38, where it talks about the 6 core competencies of a business. Today, every one of those, you need now to have a digital solution to every one of those. The very first one is lead generation. And then the second one is appointments with buyers and sellers. And then the third is marketing, showing property to buyers or getting a listing on the market. All of that, the contract, the closing, all of that, you have to have a digital solution. And the reality for that, when I say you have to, I'm not exaggerating, you have to, because people are still buying and selling real estate. And the problem is, if you don't have a digital solution, you literally can't manage it. You can't do it unless you have a digital solution. Now, some parts of the country are totally locked down, like Manhattan, like Philadelphia, but the majority of the country is at a stay-at-home, whatever you call it in your state, they're at a stay-at-home concept where you are limited, but you can still sell houses. You can still list houses. So your mindset has to simply be, every 7 days, I look at the board numbers, or I look at the data and see how many new properties went on the market, how many got pended, how many closed, and did you get your unfair share of those numbers or not? And you got to make up your mind, are you going to get some or not? Our market has definitely been affected. Our governor shut down the whole state about 2 weeks ago. And that's unfortunate, because he should have done it over a month ago, and he didn't. And he let spring breakers, a lot of them from New York and New Jersey, came down and partied on our beaches, and unfortunately either brought disease or left with disease. And neither one of those is a good thing. And it happened. But now we're on a full statewide stay-at-home. No groups of more than 10, only essential businesses. In Florida, we are considered an essential business, so we can still do our business to some degree.
So to give you an idea, Gene, in our 3 states, we're classified as essential businesses. We can still do our business. New York is a little bit unique, where they can't do any business out of the home. So in New Jersey and Connecticut, we can still physically show properties, obviously using care. But in New York, they can't show properties. They can't go on actual listing appointments. It's got to be done completely virtually.
Okay, but a virtual is an actual listing appointment, Michael.
Sure.
A virtual buyer or seller appointment is an actual appointment. That's the whole point.
Yep.
You can still do business doing it virtually. You know, consumers have been doing virtual buying and selling for a long time. A lot of corporate relocation. People will buy a home sight unseen. They go to the community. They decide they're going to take the job. They decide they're going to move there. They want a Chamber of Commerce tour. They look at neighborhoods, they look at price ranges, they get a feeling for what they can get for the money, and then they go back home. And then 3 weeks later, they pick a house through pictures or videos and put it under contract and close and move into it. People buy new construction, Michael.
Yep.
All they're looking at is plans. There's not a house to walk through. There's nothing to pick. I mean, it's just airy-fairy. And they just say, okay, I want that house. And then 9 months later, they get to move into the home they bought 9 months earlier, and they'd never seen that house. So people have been buying houses virtually all along in the industry. It's just now for some of us, it's the majority of our business. And there's a funny thing going on. The people that are diving into the virtual experience, they're finding great results, better than they expected. In fact, people that are doing it and doing a lot of it, what you'll hear is two things about the virtual listing appointment, whether it's a buyer or seller. Number one, the appointments are shorter. People are more, the buyer and the seller and the agent are more down to business. It's faster. The appointment's faster. And guess what? The conversion rates are higher. Now, we only have about 3 or 4 weeks data on this, but I'm talking to people all over the country, from California, the West Coast, all the way up to New York. I had 100 Manhattan agents on a call just a couple of weeks ago. And there are people that are doing this because that's all they can do. But what they're finding out is, hey, this actually works. This is doable. And consumers are going, okay, where do I sign?
Yeah.
And they're ready to go.
We have people on this call that, and we're not getting into those examples right now, but they've had 20 to 30 people at virtual open houses getting 3 or 4 offers, at a virtual open house. And it's kind of interesting because you could do lead generation where they sign up for it and you get all of their contact info in order to send them a Zoom invite. So that there's a lot of creative ways to do it virtually.
Exactly. In fact, people that are doing a lot of virtual open houses, and it hasn't been a long time, but we have people that are doing 3 or 4 or 5 a week.
Yep.
What they're finding is they're getting literally hundreds of views of the open house, not just at the open house, but after the open house. They're getting hundreds of views. In fact, I had Leslie Peters on a call for my group in North Florida, 800 people. And she'd been doing them she was in her 3rd week. And this was literally last week. And on that weekend before last, they had 3 virtual opens. And one house had 200 views, one had 400 views, and one had 2,000 views. Wow. 2,000 views. Now, here's the funny thing. It wasn't 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon. It was 15 minutes.
And it could be 15 minutes on a Tuesday.
Minutes.
It can be 15 minutes on a Thursday afternoon. It no longer matters. It's no longer set for one day.
So here's the big point, Michael. We all started the year doing a business like this. And now in a matter of 3 months, we're all doing the business like this, or we're not doing business. And when the wave of the virus goes away, we're not going back to that. You're not going back to the way you did business. It's going to be somewhere here in the middle. We're all going to need to be a lot more digital grounded in our business approach than we were in January. And here's what's going on, Michael. All over New York, all over New Jersey, people are at stay-at-home orders. They're all sitting at home, and they're all online. And a lot of them are working online on Zoom. Yep. So just like we've had to learn how to use this, corporate America and small business America has all adopted this platform, whether it's Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever. They're on it. Now, how long does it take to make a habit according to the one thing? 66 days. People are going to spend more than 2 months doing this. And when they exit this, they're actually going to be quite comfortable. Hey, I want to talk to you about selling my house. Great. Why don't we book a Zoom appointment? I've got 4 o'clock today or 10 tomorrow morning, and I need both of you there. So it doesn't matter if one's at work and one's at home. Let's just dive in. It'll be real convenient.
So I want to hit home on this concept, Gene, because we had Ben Kinney last week where we talked about, do we see this being a permanent change to the way we do business? And from what I'm hearing from you, yes. We've officially altered it.
I am. I mean, it won't be totally all the way digital
Right.
permanent because it's just like lending. Some people need to go online and use an online lender and shop a great deal. Some people need their hand held and won't be able to sit down in front of the loan officer and talk to them face to face, right? So we're not going to get away from that. So we're going to be a lot more digital. We're going to move from where we were in January to being a lot more digital. And here's the bottom line. You need to be capable of being all digital because some people are going to want all digital.
Yep.
And then you can be in the middle with some people who'll do the appointment maybe digital, but then want to meet you and go through and tour the last 1 or 2 houses before they write a contract.
It might be the pre-listing appointment or the buyer consultation that is now digital for a quick 15, 20-minute visit before you go to that true first face-to-face appointment. This could be a way to determine whether the lead is worth your time face-to-face.
Yeah, I get that, but I still think the bottom line is you book an appointment and then you send them a pre-list package. For us, the way we're doing this, nothing has changed. I put a sign up on a property a week ago Saturday. We got this property. We did it digitally. We got this property. We did it on a coming soon 1 week. That's all we can do. 1 week notice, coming soon. Saturday, we took the sign down. It had been viewed all week long. We had 3 people who showed up in 30 hours to look at the property. All 3 wrote an offer on the property, and it was sold in less than 2 days after going live on the market. But it was all that traffic view online, and clearly a bunch of people had narrowed it down to this is the house we want, and they all showed up. Because in my market, I don't know about your market, people are seeing a lot fewer houses, and yet the amount of actual purchases that's going on is only about 15% off. And yet we think showings are off about 50%. So people don't want to waste their time, and they're not looking at it that way. What they're looking at is we don't want to risk getting the virus. So they're forcing themselves to narrow their focus on real estate down to just 2 or 3 properties. And they're getting real good at getting real clear. That trend is going to become a new norm in looking at real estate. Right. I think they're going to actually look at less property. So
and I think that's what we're seeing. You know, according to Showing Time, New Jersey's down 73% in showings. Yeah. However, that's a lot of the looky-loos, the tire kickers. I think the people out there looking, and that's what we've been telling sellers, you might get less showings, but the people looking need to move. They're serious buyers.
That's right.
So, you know, that makes it more important buyers to have right now.
You know, the mindset issue here, and you mentioned it early on. I remember losing everything in Hurricane Andrew. I remember the dot-com bust on Wall Street in 99 into 2000. I remember 9/11. I remember the crash in 07, 08. Every one of these disasters, people still bought and sold houses. Yep. So the simple truth about housing is everybody uses our product. Everybody, and they can own it or they can rent it, but every single person uses our product.
I've shared the numbers that in the best markets, we see 6 million homes sold. In the worst markets, we see 4 million homes sold. But yeah. Either way, there's millions of homes being sold every year.
Yeah. And if things go really bad in the second wave, and I mentioned this earlier, we have this virus wave moving through us. And the minute that people are allowed back out fully, meaning businesses, restaurants are open, when they start putting people into stadiums, we actually still might have the virus playing out in certain parts of our country. Sure. But when they start to literally let people go back out there, then we're going to have the second wave, which is what kind of economic damage has been done for the months that the virus was at the forefront. And now we're going to have to deal with that damage. If the damage is relatively minor, we'll be up and rolling very quickly. The research on this is pretty clear. For every month, and by the way, I went back and read some research on this. For every month that a virus, a pandemic goes around the world, there'll be 2 to 4 months required for economic recovery.
Interesting.
So if you look at Wuhan, it started up, they say December. I think it was probably November if I had to bet, but November, December, right now, literally right now, Apple stores all over our country are closed. They're back open 3 weeks ago. They were back open in Wuhan province. They're taking down the temporary hospitals. They've removed the roadblocks. People are still walking around with masks. They're still concerned about it, but the economy is coming alive again. Now, the question is, it's not coming alive like the way it was before this happened. They're going to have to recover, right, economically. So it's 2 to 4 months for each month. So it started with us in January. It's now April. We're 4 months into this. And New York City may be coming out of it. California may be coming out of it. Washington may be coming out of it. They're having less cases. It's starting to look like they may be going down, but a lot of the rest of the country, it's still going up. Right. But here's the point. Let's say it takes 5 months. Let's say it's not going to be April. Maybe it's all the way to the end of May that we start to see a collapse, generally speaking, all the way across. If it's 5 months, then it's 2 to 4 months of recovery per month. So it'll be approximately 1.5 to 2 years of economic recovery. Now, if that's all it is, we're going to get back to a pretty solid reality in real estate fairly quickly. But if it's 10 months, we're going to have 40 months or 3.5 to 4 years to get back to normal. So
let me ask you, how do you think the trillions of dollars the government's investing in the stimulus package affects that? Do you think that gets us recovering a little bit quicker? Or do you think that just stabilizes the economy? What kind of impact?
It's a temporary Band-Aid because they don't know what they're dealing with. I mean, if people are going to get, I mean, if you get the PPP, you got a few months pay and that's it. You know, you're not going to be able to fix everything if massive amounts of unemployment happen. And we have massive amounts of unemployment right now. The question is, how quick the businesses open and how many of those people immediately get their old job back or get a different job back. And if jobs, people, this is not 2006 where no job, no problem, sign here, you get a mortgage and you get a house.
Remember those cozy and coffee loans, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
The ninja, no income, no job.
Now. They're going to have to at least have jobs in order to get a mortgage and get a house. So we have to deal with that. But again, let's say things go really bad and it takes years to recover. Well, then we're going to enter the true shift market where we're going to shift from regular owner-occupied sales to talking about pre-foreclosure sales, short sales, REO property. All that's going to raise its head again. I say, Lamb, raise your hand. Yeah, touchdown. Yeah.
You had limited class. You know she's screaming yes up there right now, Gene. You know that.
Yeah, I see her. I know. I saw her. Yeah. But, the point is, as ugly as that is, you can keep selling houses. You just have to keep shifting with the market. Gary's talking about the market of the moment. And there is a market of the moment right now that a lot of top agents talk about, which is when things get tough, that's your best opportunity to take market share.
Yep.
Literally, a lot of top agents are never afraid. They don't like downturns, but they're not afraid of them because they know, well, at least we get to take market share. And the market of the moment right now is really huge. And I don't know that enough people are paying attention to it. The simple reality is everybody's sitting at home, everybody's online, and everybody's watching video. And there's so much of that going on. 3 weeks ago, YouTube announced that they were no longer capable. This is 3 weeks ago, and it's still true today. They're not capable of streaming high definition video. There's so much streaming going on, they had to drop everything back to standard definition. Now,
interesting.
Everybody's watching tons and tons of video. Everybody's talking about how they're catching up on all these binge watching they're doing and yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? If there's any glimmer of real estate in somebody's world, they're online watching videos about real estate. They are not reading text on Google search results. They're watching videos. This is why, Michael, this is why you said people are getting 10, 20, 40, 60 views on an open house. Leslie got 2,000 views on an open house in Atlanta, Georgia. All around the country, I'm hearing this. Agents that are showing properties online are getting hundreds of views. That literally means there's a latent need for people to look at real estate right now. They have the time to do it. And if you're not posting videos right now, literally right now, on YouTube, on Instagram, emailing the link out to your entire Met database, past clients, check out my weekly video. It's about how sellers can be safe and still put a home for sale and sell it in the world of COVID-19. Click here to see my new video. 1 week later, click here to see my video. If you're moving, here's how your move can be safe and you can protect yourself from getting the coronavirus. Click here to see my new video. If you're not popping out video about the market of the moment, I mean, there's no question, all day, all night, this is the topic that everybody's talking about, is the dang virus and what it's doing to every facet of our life. We need to be the arbiters of here's how it affects your real estate life. And we need to be telling people. And if you're not telling them that, then they're going to be simply thinking, can't do anything, everything down, can't do it, can't buy, can't sell. And that's a lie. That's not true. And people that you know, people in your database actually need and or want to buy or sell real estate. And if you don't believe that, the way you think is the problem. If you've got a 600-person database, MREA 1 says there's 100 sales in that. MREA 2 says there's 60 sales in that. The bottom line is, I'm telling you, there's at least 4 or 5 people in there right now today. They're thinking, is it possible? Can we still do it? Should we wait a couple of months? And if you're not talking to that person, they're going to be on the internet. They're going to be nosing around. And people who understand internet lead generation, like Zillow or Trulia or me or other people, have traps set to grab that person. And they're going to grab them, they're going to contact them, they're going to cultivate them, and they're going to convert them and either do the business themselves or sell it to an agent. And you have lost that market share because you aren't reaching out.
Love it. Absolutely love it. A couple of comments and some of the things you said. Going back to video, I think Google shared with us at Future Tech that people have viewed 77 years of video on YouTube of houses, of just house videos in the last 9 months. And then you look at some of the results people are getting from open houses. Hey, Mr. Seller, you want to have a traditional open house where we average 8 to 10 visitors, or a virtual open house where we're averaging 100, 200, 2,000 views? You're able to make a much bigger impact a lot quicker and create more interest in the new way that we've created, right?
Right, but I'll go back to this statement. We're not going to be all the way back where we were, and we're not going to be all digital. The ideal in the future, Michael, the ideal is you will definitely do a digital online open house tour, and you're also going to do a sticks and bricks open house tour for those 3 or 4 people who like to walk through and see it.
Sure.
Right? I mean, if you want to really think about what it's going to be a nice blending of both approaches, digital and hands-on face-to-face. Gary has said this forever, and I think he's still right. This face-to-face beats anything.
Right.
It beats anything.
Maybe that's another layer to the lead generation funnel. You know, we have, leads to contacts to digital visitors to in-person visitors. It might just add another layer to that funnel.
Yep. So again, back to mindset. I think in terms of Legion, I think what everybody ought to be thinking about right now is really very pragmatic. Your 2020 business plan, that's in the garbage can. That's gone. Whatever you've got in momentum though is still there, meaning you should all have a pipeline. So last fall, last winter, you're talking to people and they're saying, well, yeah, it's time. We're going to do it. We're going to wait till spring. We're going to put the house on the market and move in the springtime. And you ask them, so exactly what does that mean to you? Is that March? Is that April? Is that May? What does that mean to you? Well, I think we're going to do it probably, Easter-ish, before, after Easter, something like that. Depends on how hard the winter is, but about that. So that became an A for you. That person became an A in your pipeline on April 1, because an A is somebody who wants to do it this month. And you collected some other people who said May, and that would be your B's right now. The most important thing for all of you to be doing right now is in the morning at 8 a.m., 5 days a week, you're on the phone to your A's and B's, and you're locking them down. They're either going to do the deal or they're not going to do the deal. And what you're literally doing is you're closing out your database. So they're going to do the deal or they're not. And you get them down. Hey, Bob, Gene Rivers, buddy, it's April 1. You told me last November, we had a chat about it, and I saw you at the Christmas party in January, and you said, yep, it's going to be April. So how you feeling, Bob? You and Mary ready to do it? Get that house on the market? Let's go find you a new home. Are you ready? Well, we're kind of worried. Awesome. Let's talk about it. What are you worried about? Is it the virus or is it the economy or is it both? What are you worried about? Well, a little bit worried about the virus. I've got a sheet I'm going to send you, Bob. We're way ahead of you. I've got it all in concert with the WHO, the World Health Organization, and the CDC, Centers of Disease Control. We have steps to mitigate your risk. Are you still going to the grocery store, Bob? Well, yeah, I am. Still going to the grocery store, Bob? Well, yeah, I am. Well, you're around 20, 30, 40 people every time you do that, Bob. We have less risk in having one person come to your house or you go look at one house than those activities. So we got you covered, Bob.
That analogy, I just want to make sure everyone got that. I want to stop right there. I want to make sure everyone got that analogy. Yeah. Mr. Hey, Bob, you've got more risk going to the grocery store
right.
and coming in contact with someone that's got COVID-19 than you do in listing your home the way we're talking about today. So, I mean, that's a great perspective point for a seller, especially as we're in this world where things are starting to decline and we're ready to start getting back into productive action. You want to create analogies they can understand. I love that, Gene.
That's right. Well, that's the truth of it. So, you know, we mitigate, like the house I talked about. That first buyer came, the sellers were gone, the house was empty, all the lights were on, all the doors were open. So the buyers had to touch as little as possible. And yet, when the buyers left, we went through and wiped down the entire house. We went all doorknobs, all counters, everything. We wiped down it. The sellers waited for 3 hours before they came back. They came back. Same thing. We did that 3 times. Boom, it's under contract. So you need to do that. I'd recommend you do that. You're closing out, and it's likely to get tighter and tighter, meaning fewer and fewer people are going to go through with it. May be a tougher month than April. But you need to clean out your database now, close it out, get the people to list or buy. Or if they tell you, no, we're worried about the economy and the virus, we're not going to do it. Okay. Assuming this passes and we move forward, what month do you think you want to pick up where you left off, Bob? You want to do it in October? You want to do it in August? You want to do it in December? What are you thinking, Bob? You're going to wait till the same time next year? What are you thinking, Bob, you and Mary? I don't know. You think we could do it in the fall? I think it's highly possible you could do it in the fall, Bob, but your plan was to sell in the spring and move in the summer because you have kids. Do you still want to stick to that, or will you go atypical and move in the fall after your kids are back in school? Assuming that can all happen, do you want to move them, Bob? I'm not kidding. You need to remember people buy or sell for reasons. And if they were going to do it in April and now they're not, it's not if, it's just when are they going to do it? Find out. Fill your pipeline. So you spend an hour in the morning, 8 to 9, doing that, A's and B's. Talk to the people for April, talk to the people for May. Find out who's going to do it, or are they going to push, and then park them for the push. And then you need to get on the phone with your General Met database. And the General Met database approach is different than the approach with your A's and B's in your pipeline. The A's and B approach is, are you ready to do it? The General Met is, hey, Bob, hi, Michael, it's Gene Rivers. How you doing, buddy?
Great, Gene. Nice to hear from you.
Good. Listen, I'm touching base with you. How are you doing? How's the family? Nobody's got the virus, do they?
Oh, no, thank God we don't. We've been hunkered down here for about 4 weeks, but thankfully all are healthy, Gene. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, going a little crazy, but you're managing, right?
I'm commuting from my bedroom to my basement every day. It's a rough commute, but I'm making it work.
Well, is there anything I can do to help you? Do you have a parent or an elder relative that you're having to deliver food for? Maybe I could help out a day a week delivering food for you. Is there something I can do to help you or your family or friends?
Wow, Jim, that's a great question. I really appreciate that. I don't have anyone that needs that myself, but I'll keep that in mind. Thanks, bud.
Absolutely. Well, I have one other question of you. Is there a chance you might know somebody, maybe a past coworker who lost a job or somebody who did get sick? Do you know anyone who's financially challenged right now that you think might be worried about being able to pay their mortgage? Because I've been studying all of the options that they have, and some options look good, but they're not necessarily good. And I want to make sure people don't make bad housing decisions, mortgage decisions without really good information. So is there someone you know that I could simply be a consultant to and give them advice about decisions about their mortgage without getting themselves into trouble?
That's a great question and comment, because we've been talking a little bit locally on when do you start bringing real estate back into the conversation. And you don't just ask if someone's looking to buy or sell, but you come in from contribution. Do you know anyone that's struggling, anyone that needs some help, anyone that's looking for options, anyone that I love the way you're framing that.
Yeah,
it's coming from heart, not coming from sales.
Well, it is, but it's often true that the best opportunities you have come through helping people.
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, when somebody's got a third kid coming and they live in a 3-bedroom house, that's not a sales job. You're helping people, right? It really is coming from help. So I don't think it's anything new, but I think it is that mindset. And I think you should ask that question on this very first phone call, because there are people that are getting into trouble, that are worried. They're looking at that mortgage forbearance, and is that a good idea or not? For a lot of people, that's a really bad idea, and they think it's a good idea not to have to pay their mortgage, and it's not necessarily a good idea.
Yeah.
So I want to give people good advice, and you and I know anytime you get to talk to somebody about their real estate or their mortgage, you get a chance for an opportunity for business. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help.
Yep.
So you spend an hour, 8 to 9 or 9:30 on those A's and B's, and then you spend another hour, hour and a half, 9 to 10:30 or 11 on your MET database. You need to take a break. You need to go outside, get some air, have some lunch, and then you need to get back on the job path, and you need to be making appointments that you're having now, digital appointments in the afternoons, and you need to be making videos. The videos you need to make are two kinds. One is property tours. So every listing you have, you should have a property tour. Community tours, when you go to the grocery store, go to your favorite part of town where you do business, start shooting some videos with your smartphone. Doesn't have to be fancy, just start doing videos and start putting them in there. The property channel on YouTube is one channel, and then at property and area views, and then the other is information. And we already talked about this, information on how to sell a home in the world of COVID-19 and be safe. Put on information in 2.5-minute bites. Just think of the topic, write it out, practice it, and then record it, and then post it, and then email it to your entire database. And there's a link to get to the video. When they click on the link, register to see the video, and now you've got pure bona fide lead opportunities coming in the door. At a higher level, you can go through command and use one of the campaigns on Facebook. I'd recommend Facebook, and put a $10 a week budget and get that baby out there, and then watch views start coming in. And our experience with that is it's about $1.32 to $1.40 a lead. It's very cost effective. It does not cost a lot of money. So remember, this is the market of the moment, where if you jump into videos really aggressively, you're going to have a huge opportunity to take market share. But going forward, remember this thing like the digital experience for buyers and sellers, that's not going away. We're not going all the way back to hand holding. Videos are going to be a permanent part of an agent's world now. Ideally, every listing you get, you'll do a Matterport tour or a high quality virtual tour. You are going to be into high quality video. You're going to be translating your concepts about your business systems and your methodologies onto video. So Michael, there'll be a point where it won't be send out a printed pre-list package. It'll be send out links to videos, and they're going to watch those videos and understand exactly what your business is about. And there'll be links for them to get hard copies after they've watched the videos, as opposed to just sending the hard copy first.
Hey, Gene, have you seen any apps for the smartphone that makes it easy for a novice to be able to use video at a decent level without being into cutting and clipping and changing and filtering? Are there anything out there make it a little bit easy?
Yeah, anybody out there that's got an 8-year-old kid, ask them to teach you how to make a video on your phone.
Be a great way to employ your kids, right?
They all know how to do it.
And Rich Turnbull, we might want to play your video from The Office. Maybe send it to Emily if she wants to play that at the end of the call. He had his kids create a really cool music video for The Office. So, like you said, you know, there's a great way to employ our children. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not complicated. Almost everybody I'm staring at has shot a video of, you know, somebody's sandwich at a luncheon, or, you know, somebody's birthday party, the cake. I mean, you all know how to shoot video. There's no excuse. You can do video.
Hey, I'm gonna just stop for a second. I see a lot of questions in the chat box going back to your forbearance comment. You know, forbearance isn't good for all. You know, why is forbearance bad? People are sharing their knowledge of forbearance. So what's your perspective on what the forbearance is offering right now?
Well, just understand the point. Not making payments for a few months doesn't mean you don't owe money. Right. And that doesn't mean somebody is sitting easy just because they got a few months free.
It's going to catch up.
People should not get confused about this issue at all. It's just like a lot of businesses taking out the SBA loan. It is a loan.
Yeah.
PPP might become a grant as long as you keep your payroll up, but if you do, then you actually spent the money, right? So, I mean, you have people that you were going to fire, and now you're not going to fire them because you have the money in order to pay them. But taking out a loan is forbearance could be a problem when that money comes due. So just be aware of that.
Well, I think the PPP, the government's saying, instead of paying these people for unemployment, we'll pay their employer to keep them employed with the hopes that they don't terminate them when it's over. So I think the government's figuring they're going to pay it anyway. They might as well pay it through the employer.
Well, there's actually a lot of evidence that that is the smartest way to support the economy, is just keep people on payroll. It's the cheapest thing to do. For most people, it is. The minute the government gets involved, there's extra cost just to manage the program where you're giving them the benefits. But that's a quasi, opinion or political statement, but it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is we will have a economic hit no matter what the government can do. It can't cover the impacts of all damage. So we're going to have an economic hit. Question is dependent on how long does the virus sustain itself based on our bad or good behavior? And that'll drive how much economic hit we have. If we get back to work in end of May, great. June, not as great, but good. November, that's a train wreck.
Right. If it goes into the fall, it's a much bigger challenge to recover from at that point.
That's right. That's right. That's why we really do need to pay attention and behave right now.
Right. Stay home, work from home, try to be as productive as possible. I see Christina's not in home. She's in a car. I'm watching her drive with the phone on her speedometer. Again, there's a reason these shelter in place orders are. The reason we're plateauing right now is because people have been home for the last 3 weeks. So
That's right.
Smart move. So 8 o'clock, follow up with your A's and B's, 9 to 10:30, 11, general med database, that caring call, 10:30 to 11, breathe, get some fresh air, then focus on property tours, community tours. While you don't need to be fancy with Facebook, you need to be thoughtful and plan out what that 2.5 minutes looks like, because it doesn't have to be fancy, but it needs to be content rich.
Yeah, they need to write it out and just practice it a few times. Realize what these little snippets are. It's no different than what you do with a seller or buyer. All of you, when you do a buyer or seller consult, you say the same stuff. The problem is when you're at the appointment, they interrupt you, they take you down rabbit holes, you get distracted, you forget to say something you should have said. So you're not learning anything new. What you're doing is getting it written out, concise, clear, powerful, and then you just say it over and over about 5 or 6 or 10 times, and then it'll come natural to you because you're used to saying this stuff. You're just not used to not being interrupted. So it's not hard to do. And, some of the basics you still need to make, like how to price your home to sell in any market. Do that video, 2.5 minutes, explain to me how to price a home to sell in any market. And it's basically a bracketing comment and an activity comment. And that's it. It's not hard to do.
Can we spend a minute, Gene? I'm not sure what your content is, but talk about price. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, but some sellers are fearful that the current environment might affect their price if they put the home on the market. So how would you navigate that pricing conversation?
Well, again, if you look back at pandemics, and we've had them that are short, like Ebola, and we've had them that are longer, like swine flu and the avian flu, but we've had them, and the fact is they have very little impact on housing. The issue is the economic impact of the epidemic. Right? That's the problem. That's what can have an impact on housing. If too many people lose their jobs and can't get them back, then you have a housing, a fall in buyers, which will drive prices downward, right? And sellers start stacking up like cordwood. So that, I don't think anybody's got the answer. We can talk about the future positively or negatively, but the reality is right now it's a week by week thing. I think you'd agree every week something seems to change in what's going on. It just seems to change. I mean, I'm watching some researchers talking about it's not going to take a year to get a vaccine. They think they're going to be able to do it much quicker. Well, that would certainly change the game radically if they can do that. So we are living week to week. If we can have the number of conversations to get the right number of appointments, and I mean digital appointments with buyers and sellers, we are going to get the right number of active buyers and listings, and we're going to keep selling. We did I think 7 deals in the last 7 days on my team, the Rivers team. and our market is down, and yet there's still active, motivated buyers and sellers doing deals.
One of the things I say about pricing, Gene, is pricing is determined by supply and demand.
Of course.
Our listings are down by 75% right now, and our under contracts are only down by 60%. So in that analogy, we've actually got more people writing contracts than we do listings coming on the market. So right now,
Yep.
you still have demand a little bit better than supply.
And that's a great comment to somebody who's sitting on the fence right now, a little worried. Say, do you understand supply demand? Do you understand that due to the collapse of supply right now, it's actually a great time to be a seller? And if all the other sellers that are waiting on the sidelines, like you're thinking about, if they all come back at once when this thing gets lifted, do you understand how much competition you're going to have then? So where would you rather sell, now with low competition, or then with more competition than you're probably ever going to see when you put your house on the market?
Because when this all breaks, everyone's back to normal. There's a good chance the market's going to be flooded with all the people that were going to list their homes in the spring. You may see a general increase in inventory.
Yep, but, and this is a big but, one reason to believe in price stability is that we went into this with shortages of inventory across the nation. And that is not changing. That is not going away. The reason we have severe shortages of inventory is lack of new construction for a decade. And all over the country, that lack of new construction means that first-time buyer and growing family properties have been snagged up by investors. They've been snagged up by people who can't get anything else to buy. So they buy a smaller home than they want to wait until they can get the bigger home they want. I mean, it's a problem that's not gone just because of 6 months of a virus showing up. So we're still going to be dealing with that.
What we've actually done is we've given the demand the supply a chance to catch up a little bit, really, with some of that lagging inventory that we'll see. And I talked to someone last week in the financial industry where their belief is a lot of the people that are becoming unemployed, a lot of them are renters. So it may affect our buyer pool less than we think. Just because of the fact that if you look at the industries that have been most affected, those industries aren't known to be a heavy buyer industry. Again, just food for thought. Guys, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes left with Gene. So if you have any questions, now would be the time to toss them in the chat box so we can make sure he answers any questions that you might have. We've got some great scripting comments, some great market concepts, what's going on in the industry in the future. So Gene, anything in that afternoon of the day, talking about the perfect day, property tours, community tours, that info, anything else people should be doing with their time?
Command.
What's that?
Command.
Command.
Command. You know, agents generally speaking don't like change. Agents generally speaking don't like technology. So when you stir those two things up, you get resistance to command at a high level. And it wouldn't matter what it is. If it's technology and it's change, there'd be resistance. Well, the one way to combat your challenge with command is to use it a lot. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of people telling me that there are problems with command, and a lot of them, when we really drill down, we have our own tech people. When we drill down, the problem is not command. The problem is their comprehension of how command works. Right. And I don't think people understand that the viewpoint, the perspective of command is not the perspective of top producer or boomtown or edge. It is a different look at the real estate consumer and how to manage them. And it is about a large pool and a small focus group. And a lot of agents have just put people into databases and added, and they've got 400 leads and 500 leads and 600 leads, and they almost do no follow-up with any of those leads. They only are working with the ones that are screaming, "I'm ready to buy a house." And they don't do any lead cultivation or lead nurturing. Tim Howell, what he experienced as a young agent really exposed all of this to most people. He came away as a new agent saying, if you get on the phone and talk to people, the real business is not in one phone call. The real business is a series of what he started calling nurturing those people. And a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, you'll get business if you simply keep talking to people. And command is built to do that much more than it's built to do the one-off mining that agents are so used to doing. So I think what we're doing is an hour a day. Our team is spending an hour a day on command, period. And then I'm bringing in every 2 weeks, I'm bringing in a trainer to sit with them and work for a half a day. I think if you put intention into Command, Command will pay off for you. And it doesn't have to be a perfect tool to pay off for you. We're gonna switch from about $45,000 a year on internet lead generation to about $5,000 a year on lead generation. And that will purely be spot placed ads through Facebook and YouTube and Google through Command, because the tool is just incredible at doing that. I mean, that alone is worth a lot of money. Command is.
Now, just so everyone's aware, we have almost 300 people on the call. The link you used to come in here, whether it was Market Center, Zoom, or the number, every day at 11 a.m. on this same link, we do some type of a Command training. So if you want to get more training on Command, then use this same link every day at 11. I believe there's one day where we have bold pivot introduction instead of it, but almost every other day we do Command on the same channel. I'm seeing some questions here, Gene, that I'd love to just get out to you here. A lot of questions on scripts. You don't have your own script book, do you? People are wanting the Gene.
Yeah, I do. And they're about this thick. There's two of them, and it's called the MREA Scripts Catalog. And if you download them, they're literally this thick. It's 2 manuals, and they're still out there. It's a free download. That is your go-to. You wanna call a FSBO? I think there's 27 different scripts for FSBOs. FSBO, never sold before. FSBO, tried with a realtor first. FSBO, not in residence. I mean, you call the scenario and there's a script for it in those catalogs. I'm not kidding. That's our catalog.
Yeah. So again, if you go to, KWU, or KW.com and just search for the MRE script books there. If you can't, check with your Market Center. They can definitely help you out with that as well. Yeah. I see a note in here from Maria Baxter from Movement Mortgage. If not sure about the forbearance, call your lender, your Market Center lender, to get some more information on that. His COVID script, we recorded this. This is currently live on my Facebook page. So if you want to just go to oh, sorry. Was I supposed to give you a heads up on that, Gene?
Am I getting royalties here, buddy? What's going on here?
You can go there and hear more about that. I got a question. Someone asked a question here on what are your thoughts, Gene, on new construction with luxury listings? Any thoughts on new construction right now or luxury?
Well, if you want to take a negative view on the economic going forward, then any high-end adventure with new construction. I assume you're talking about it as a spec. If it's a spec, that's a high-end roll of the dice.
Yeah. This wouldn't be the best time, perhaps, for a high-end listing to hit the market or someone to build a high-end new home.
That's very possible. I mean, when you have economic slowdown and a massive hit to the stock market, that tends to curb high-end moving, because most of the high-end people they already have a pretty nice house. It's not like they need to move. And that's the biggest issue about people buying or selling, which is their level of motivation.
If you were to give people a tip, whether it's a book or a class to improve their skills, and the skills we talked about today, lead generation, listings, what class would you point them in the direction of?
Boy, and I mean this very seriously, I think you need to really live in reality right now. And I think you need to pay very close attention to what the truth is about the virus and what's going on. And I think you need to pay attention to the fact that the market of the moment is videos. So if you're going to do anything, I would literally study our own tools. If you want higher quality videos, we have this thing called KW Video. And they have a whole studio that remotely they can help you craft really professional, powerful videos. There's so much in Keller Williams of benefit to so many of us. And the fact that we don't investigate it means we're ignorant about it. And we just keep looking for a better solution outside of the solutions you've already got. There's more value in this company than any company out there. And I don't say that as a sycophant. My life, my career is built on my believing in the company that I'm with, or I'd be on my own company. And I truly believe that. A lot of you need to read the MREI book and the Flip book and the whole book like 5 times each.
Right.
I mean, you all could be millionaires if you really took those books to heart through real estate investing. And I'm not kidding. You need to pay attention to that. Everybody's all excited now about paying attention to this book because everybody's scared, you know what? Right? That's why everybody's paying attention to this book. But this book has great lessons for your business all along. This was never not a good book to read. So I would pay attention to our tools, which is Command, but it's other tools like the KW Video, like the app. You need to on those phone calls I mentioned to your Met database, you need to be telling them, look, before we hang up, I'm going to send you a link. I want you to download this app. It's 2 gifts Keller Williams International has created for you. One is if you need to maybe get your money under better control, you can do an automatic calculation on refinancing on Keller Mortgage. And if you do it, there's 0 points, there's 0 cost, no upfront appraisal fee, and $1,000 back if it's over $150,000. The second thing is you can shop in a pool and maybe save up to 30% on your homeowner's insurance. So I'm going to send you the link for the app. You download it, and you might save yourself a bunch of money this afternoon. So
it was interesting. I did the Keller Covered. That's the insurance link Gene's referencing. I did the Keller Covered, and I got one price. But then I put in my agent name. I used my wife, Amy. I put in my agent name. I saved another $400 a year on Keller Covered once I connected it with my agent. So Keller Covered actually gives the consumer an even bigger discount on their insurance once they connect their Keller Covered to their agent. So we can do a whole little session on that. But I found it interesting. I was saving $1,000 a year on my homeowner's insurance. When I said, find my agent on the Keller Covered site, it gave me another $400 off. So it's a neat little thing to cement your relationship with your clients where they're actually pointing to you as the person saving them that money.
So you understand the point I'm saying to you is what a lot of these agents need to do is to study all about the value propositions we've already got because they're not using them. We're simply not using them at the level we should, just like the Scripps catalog. Everybody looks blank when I say, yeah, the Scripps catalog. What? Scripps catalog?
It's been out for 16
like
years.
More Scripps than's ever been collected in one thing. Yeah, and it's free. Yeah.
Back in 2006, I had them printed out in big binders on my bookshelf, for goodness sakes. They've been around for 15 years.
That's right. Instead, I get asked, do you have a Scripps catalog? No, I don't need a Scripps catalog. I've already got this fat one, and so can you.
Well, I reinvent the wheel, right? I got to tell you, Gene, you've been awesome. I think one of the compliments I had in here was most fitting. We had Mo Anderson and Ben Kinney last week, and I heard someone mention in here that you're the best call they've had so far.
Oh my God!
I gotta tell you,
this is going public. You just got me in trouble, big.
You have been absolutely awesome. Do you have any final thought or final piece of advice you want to share? And then we're going to jump into a quick funny video, and you can hop off if you want while we're playing that funny video.
No, the last thing I would say is have faith in your career path. People use our product all the time. Everybody does. You can help them rent it or you can help them buy it, but you can make money anyway, buddy. Just keep working. W-O-R-K. Did we start the day with that dirty little word? Keep working. 8 a.m. at your chair working. 8 a.m. 5 days a week. By 3 o'clock, you're done.
Again, for the first time, especially New Jersey and New York, you can't say you were late because you got stuck in traffic. Right? And Gene, you've taught here. Taught here. You know they always say they're late to classes because they got stuck in traffic.
Yeah, the traffic was horrible. Horrible.
Again, for those people asking about the books, every book Gene mentioned is on kellerinc.com. I put it in the chat box. Kellerinc.com has all those books there. Also has all the tools and all the downloads in that book. Thank you, Gene. You were awesome. You're amazing. I appreciate you spending your time with us.
Absolutely.
Emily, hope you have something good for us to laugh to. I trust you. There it is. Rich Turnbull. This was a video the Basking Ridge Market Center made for their agents.
Lose our minds tonight. What's the dealio?
I love when I talk too much. 5 a.m. turn the radio up. Where's the rock and roll?
Party crasher, penny snatcher. Call me up if you want gangsta. Don't be fancy, just get dancy.
Why so serious?
The classic you were wrong. In all the right ways, all my underdogs. We will never be anything but loud and nitty gritty, dirty little freaks.
Won't you come on, come on?
Hey, your glass.
Just come on, come on.
Come on, raise your glass.
slam, slam, oh hot damn, what part of party don't you understand? You just freak out.
Can't stop coming in hot. I should be locked up right on the spot. Said so right
By
now.
the way, any market center can
Party
do this.
crasher,
There's a big culture
penny
opportunity.
snatcher. Call me up if you a gangster.
Don't be fancy, just get dancy.
Why so serious?
So raise your glass if you are wrong.
You know the right way.
We will never be anything but loud and nitty gritty, dirty little freaks.
You come on, raise your glass. Just come on, raise your glass.
So raise your glass if you are wrong in all the right ways. All my underdogs, we will never be anything but loud and nitty gritty, dirty little freaks.
Won't you come on and raise your glass? Just come on, raise your glass.
Hey guys, thanks so much for being on today's call. Good luck out there. Just remember, we're going to get through all this. We'll get through it together because we're one team and teams like us don't fail. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to see you at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We got Jason Abrams. Gene, thank you again. Always a pleasure seeing you, my friend.
See you later.
See you all tomorrow.
I'll see y'all in New York.